Hello, Steve Slack here, and welcome to my tutorial on using RSS feeds in Sense. This is part one of three. This part is the only part you really need to understand how an RSS works, but if you want a bit more fun using RSS in Sense, then you watch the other two. Okay, without further ado, let's jump straight in. First thing we want to look at is, of course, what is an RSS feed. TU100 goes a bit of a way to explain what an RSS feed is. But for people who aren't using TU100 or just want a different type of explanation, basically I've written it here. An RSS feed, it's a bit of text that Sense posts to a server. The server is currently or is situated at the OU, and when the server receives that, it interprets the text that you've sent it, sorting it out with a title and a description. It adds some other things which we'll look at in the second two tutorials. But for this one, we just need to know that's what it does. And then when that information has been posted via an XML file, you'll see that information when you browse the feed using your web browser. So first thing I want to do is we're going to decide on a name for our feed. Now up here, if you look at this, this is actually the position where we actually have the RSS feed, and the name is what comes next after the RSS, inside the RSS directory. So we're going to call this one RSS tutorial 1. So there's our feed, and we're going to copy that. Just do a Control C to copy that. I'm going to look at our browser. In our browser, you can see we've already got it open as a different course. We just post that in there and enter. And as you can see, there's no RSS tutorial 1, so it just gives us nothing in the feed at all. Okay, so let's return to Sense. And the first thing we do is going to make that feed work. And we're just going to take this text that we just put into there, and we're going to copy it again into there. As you can see, the text is the same. And we've just got to set the feed, and like that. Now, as you've read seen my other tutorials, you'll know that double clicking a block will run it. So we'll just double click that block. And as you see, it's asking us for our OU username and password. This is not a mistake. This is just how the server makes sure that you've got permission to use the directory. So we'll use my one because it's the only one I know. I'm not going to tell you my password. Okay, so now that's gone off of white, we know that it's posted. If we look at our browser, nothing there as yet. Hit the refresh button, and as you can see, we have in here a part of our feed which is title and description, or DESC. Okay, if we close that down and look at this again, you'll see that what we've actually put into there is what's contained within our feed, which is, that's the name, that's the title, and that's the description. Now, as you can see, this makes viewing this quite difficult, so we're going to actually use a variable here, and we're going to make a variable, and we're going to call it RSS feed name. If you're wondering about my capitalization, it's basically the way that we use capitals when we're programming. Okay, so if we now take set, we're going to set the feed name up. Obviously, we're going to use that pasted in again, and now you can see that our feed name is here on the canvas. So if we run that, you'll see that our feed name now takes on string that was in there, and so now instead of putting all that into our feed, we just put that. And if we now change this to call it title 2, and then check out our browser again, you'll see that we've not actually made any difference to what happens. All we're doing is substituting part of the string with a variable. Okay, close our browser down again. So that's how we can obviously use the feed straight away. If you're encountering difficulties with getting a feed to come up on your browser, if it's not working, if the feed's there, or you can't see the feed when you post to it, you might want to check whether you're behind a firewall. If you've got antivirus, sometimes there's firewall in there that can stop you using certain sites, so just make sure that's clear. If you have any further problems, if you go to the TU100 technical help, they'll help you on there. Okay, so we've seen now how the RSS feed works. So what we can do now, if we look at this feed here, that we've got currently set up and go back to our browser, there are currently 2 posts in there. Now, I've noticed if you've posted to RSS feeds before that you normally just get the title and 1 post and no more occur. But if you look here, the reason that we've got a different post is that title 2 is a different title, so it creates another post. So one of the questions I've been asked is, how do we clear this? Well, it's quite simple really. In order to clear a title, we just take the description and make it blank, no space or anything, and then just run that again. And we've taken the title 2 item and inserted blank data into there. When we pull the browser up and do a refresh, you'll see that title exists but title 2 doesn't. So if we close our browser again and change that to title and run the same piece of code again, you'll see that we now have, if we go back to our browser and refresh again, a blank tutorial feed. So that's how you can clear information that you've put on when you're testing your RSS. So that's how we clear out an RSS feed. So I'm just going to put some more feeds back in there. I'm going to call this item 1, and we'll say Steve is here. I'm going to run that. I'm going to call the next one item 2. I'm going to say today, just for the sake of saying today, at 11:56. And we'll run that one as well. We go to our browser, and if we look at our feed again, refresh it, you'll see item 1, Steve was here, item 2, today at 11:56. Right, so next we're going to pull that information back from the feed. Now we're not going to add any other text, any other blocks in here at the moment. All we're going to do is go into we're going to go into internet, and we're going to load our feed. Now, because we've already put our feed text into a feed name, we can actually use that feed name again to load our RSS feed. And then if we do that now from our feed name, there you go, it's done it now. We can check what we've actually loaded by taking, let's say, title of item 1, and I'm going to create another variable and call it feed title, and another variable and call it feed description. I guess you know what we're going to do next. We're going to do a set on feed description, we're going to do a set on feed title. Okay, as you can see, we've got these 2 items up here, feed description and feed title. And now we're going to just take the RSS information. I'm going to put the title into, we're going to put the description into description and the title into title. So when we run these pieces of code, it'll give us that information from the RSS feed that we've downloaded. Now you can only have one RSS feed in Sense downloaded at a time, and it always treats that as the one that you're looking at. So if we just run this now, you'll see that the feed description reads Steve was here, and the feed title is item 1. So that means that that information has been downloaded by this piece of text from the internet. And if we now change this to 2, which is the second item, we should see item 2 today at 11:56. So that's how an RSS feed can be fed onto the OU server, and then what happens when you retrieve the information from the OU server. That concludes the first part of the RSS tutorial. In the next part, I'm going to show you how to start creating a basic but interesting RSS chat feed. Thank you very much, and goodbye.